Welcome to the Fit Dad Nation podcast, forging strong fathers and raising a stronger generation. It's time to get up or shut up with your host, Steve Roy.
Hey guys, this is Steve Roy, the host of the Fit Dad Nation podcast. Welcome to the show. Thanks for listening. So before I jump into today's episode, just want to share what we're up to over in the Fit Dad Nation. So we've got a couple things I want to talk to you about real quick. One, we've got a really great free group on Facebook for dads looking to get back into health and fitness, kind of reclaim their health, if you will. And we do that in the Fit Dad Base Camp. It's a totally free group, and you can apply at fitdadnation.com/community. Secondly, we have a private membership program. It's going extremely well right now. We've got a lot of guys working together. We're running a couple of different challenges right now. And it's just a phenomenal resource for dads that are like really serious about getting back after it and are ready to actually put in the work. We do that at the Fit Dad Nation Inner Circle. You can learn more about that program at fdnic.com. So lots of good things happening in the Fit Dad Nation. And so today, what I want to talk about is, I guess, kind of the reasons. My idea for this show was to kind of remind you why it's so important to be fit as a father. So yesterday, I sent out a survey to the Fit Dad Nation. And actually, I've done this multiple times over the years. And yesterday I asked a question, a very specific question. It was, how would your life be better if you were in the best shape of your life? So I want to share a couple of responses with you. And this is all anonymous, so I have no idea who any of these guys are that left these specific responses. But it's important to share this because I see a lot of patterns, and you know, it's such a great reminder when you ask yourself a question like this. Like literally, if you ever think about it, when's the last time you sat down and thought about, you know, what would my life be like if I wasn't 50 pounds overweight, and if I didn't wake up every morning with my bones and joints aching, and if my back didn't hurt all the time? What would my life be like if my wife, you know, saw me with my clothes off and she was thrilled with what she saw, or she was just really attracted to me? Or, you know, what would my life be like if I went to the pool or the beach and took off my shirt and didn't feel like the fat guy? So when you take time to think about these things, and, you know, when I asked this question in a survey, I just asked for honest answers, just, you know, put some thought into it. And most people, in my experience, most men, aren't going to sit down and think about, okay, if I do this, this, and this, and I get into this kind of shape and I feel this way, this is how my life may change. And I think it's a very important exercise. So for those of you that aren't fit, and again, I've talked about this before, more so recently, but the Fit Dad Nation isn't a place for a bunch of fit dads to hang out and talk about pull-ups and burpees and shit like that. The Fit Dad Nation was designed for guys that are not fit, that want to get fit, because those are the men that need the most help. And so I went through a period, actually multiple periods in my life, where I was not fit. I was never, call it overweight. I've always been a thinner guy, but I certainly was a sloppy pile of shit for a while on different occasions. And so, yeah, my body fat skyrocketed. I was mushy. I had, you know, not a whole lot of muscle. I felt horrible. And so I know what it's like to feel absolutely terrible and have no energy, have no motivation at all. And, you know, it wasn't really until 2013 that I really started to turn it around after my separation, and things fell apart for me, my health. And I turned it around through fitness, and, you know, every single thing in my life got better. And so I want you to think about that as I read through some of this stuff. And this is important stuff. So I'm just going to list off a few things here. Having a sense of accomplishment. So again, this is the question was, you know, how would your life be better if you were in the best shape of your life? So we hear someone says having a sense of accomplishment, more confidence, I would have the energy to keep up with my hectic life. Less worrying about my health, more energy, better confidence. I wouldn't be diabetic, overweight, and have high blood pressure. Better for my career and career goals, more energy and confidence, some more vigor for life. I'd be a better example for my son. I wouldn't worry about my health as a father and husband. More confidence, a better visual example for my kids. More energy and a longer life for my wife and especially for my kids. More energy, more confidence. Working around the house, doing things with my wife and going different places. A better outlook on life. So these are just a few here, right? There's a whole bunch more. And as you can see a trend here, we see energy, confidence, role model come up. And, this is significant stuff. When I read this stuff, it just reminds me of why it's so important that we start taking care of ourselves as fathers, right? I mean, my job is incredibly important as a coach, as someone that helps other men find these things. And, most of the men that are answering this survey, this one in particular, they're in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. So these aren't young men. These are guys that have been around the block. You've been around for many, many years, and you know how to eat healthy. You know how to exercise. You know how to get more sleep. You know how to watch, your lifestyle habits, right? Those basic things, but you're not doing them, right? People are not doing them. And my question right before this one was, on a scale from 1 to 10, what's your current fitness level? And the vast majority of the responses, and there were a lot of responses here, like 60% rated themselves between a 4 and a 6, which is right in the middle of the road, which sucks. I mean, a 4 and a 6, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how healthy are you? How fit are you? 4. Think about that as like a 45-year-old guy, right? That sucks. I mean, I'm not beating you guys up. I'm not a 10 by any means, but I'm saying walking around at a 4 is no way to live. And it kills me because there's so many guys doing it. And it's like, how do you help so many men turn their lives around? And, obviously I'm trying to do that. It's obviously a large task here, but, as you're listening to this, just think about, man, I'm walking around here at a 4 or a 5. I'm just getting by, or maybe I feel okay, but there's so many things I could improve. There's so many things I want to do. There's so many places I want to go. I really want to show up for my wife as a fit husband and confident man. And, that's important stuff. And of course, your sex life likely will improve when you have more confidence, when you have more stamina, when you feel better about yourself, and then your wife can see that, and then she's more attracted to you. I mean, these are real things. I'm going to read a couple more here. Let's see here. So, be more confident, have more self-esteem, more energy to do things with my kid, or kids, feeling better. Let's see, more productive and more efficient at home and work. Better example for my boys. Making better choices for myself, living longer, confidence at work, sleeping better, dating opportunities, less worrying about getting older, again, more confidence, more time not being stressed, more confidence and even want to help others be better, keeping up with my daughter, overall physically fit, more energy for my kids, better health, self-confidence, and energy. I'd have way more confidence and be able to live a healthy lifestyle I want to show my daughter. More energy, better sex, and more fun. More confidence in myself. Being pain-free. Looking and feeling better. More attractive to my spouse. Better role model for my kids. So this goes on and on. And again, you hear a lot of the same stuff. And it's very hard for me to really share how important this is over a microphone here. This isn't, just a survey where I'm just spitting out some answers that people, these are real emotional-based answers that are coming from guys who are struggling. And if you're listening to this show, you're probably struggling in some aspect. And again, who I really feel like we need to reach the most and who I feel like I need to reach the most is the guy that's sitting at home that's been overweight for years, is in a rut, doesn't particularly feel great about himself, kind of getting through the day, doesn't have a ton of energy, diets wherever, it's all over the place, eat what you eat, not really getting any exercise in, you're not stretching, you don't feel really that great, you don't feel great about yourself, and you don't know necessarily where to start, how to start, even what to do, and it's overwhelming. There's obviously so many options out there for fitness and nutrition. It's everywhere. Obviously, you just don't know who to listen to, and it's too much. And that's the guy that needs to tune in and say, all right, let's forget all the noise. Let's just forget all the stuff that I have to do. Forget about checking all the boxes, cleaning up your diet, eating perfectly, getting to the gym 6 days a week, revamping your lifestyle, trying to lose 50 pounds. Like, if you start thinking that way, you probably are going to fail quickly. And by fail, I mean you're just going to stop, right? You may get started. You may even get super jacked up on, motivation for a short period of time. And that's great. But in my experience, what happens is you get all, amped up, and then something pops up, work event, kid gets sick, you twist your ankle, anything can happen that just sidelines you, and boom, you're right back where you started. And now you're like, well, fuck, this doesn't work. And now I'm not even going to do anything. And a lot of guys are there. I've talked to guys all the time that are there. We're like, just fuck it. It's too much. I'm not going to do anything. Time's not right, whatever. And so when you're listening to this, I want you to really just think about what I'm telling you, the things that I just told you. Some of those things that I just read have to resonate with you, because as a dad, those are the biggest things. I mean, we all care about those things. And if you don't, I don't know why you're listening to this show, but those are massively important parts of our life. And for some, being a better role model for your kids is at the top of your list. That's awesome. And for others, that's at the bottom. And that's not right or wrong. It is what it is. You have to be motivated by whatever you're motivated by. Some of you are motivated to look good in the mirror. Nothing wrong with that. That's an important thing also. And if that's your motivator, you have to let that drive you. Maybe you were a stud in high school and college and you've let it go and you want it back, right? Now you're the fat guy and you don't want to be that guy anymore. Or maybe you were always the dork, like me, for example. I was super dorky most of my childhood up until in my 20s. Super nerdy, dorky, goofy, you name it. That was me. And so for me, when I was in my 20s and 30s, it was important for me to look physically fit, be physically fit and strong, and look good. And I spent my time trying to do that. That's what motivated me. Things are a little bit different for me now. I just turned 48. I have different aspirations. Of course, I still want to look good. Everybody wants to look good. There isn't a person on this earth that doesn't care. Well, let's talk about maybe the Western civilization that doesn't want to look good naked. It's just, that's who we are. And there's nothing wrong with that. So your job is to find out what motivates you the most and then go with it. So, I could go on for an hour about all the different things that I've heard, all the different things that I've seen, all the different reasons why it's important for you. But at the end of the day, really, it's such a personal decision. And, when I read some of these things, some of it, it literally breaks my heart to read some of these things. And one of the other questions that I have here, and I wrote, what's the biggest excuse you use to avoid consistent exercise and eating healthy? And again, I asked for just honest answers. There's no judgments. I don't even know who's writing what, so it's fine. And I'll just go through a few here. Irregular schedule, bad eating habits, trying to juggle work, family, and fitness, time. I'm just reading down the list. This is crazy. It's too hard. I'm too busy. Lack of a regular routine. Time. Money. Knowledge. Meal prep. Being unhappy in my professional life. I'll start tomorrow syndrome. Lack of energy. Lack of planning. Too busy. Lack of discipline. Too tired. Let's see, time, tired, time. Obviously, you can see a trend here, obviously, with this time issue. This has come up. I mean, I'm scrolling through here. I'm on my phone scrolling down here. And I see time. I mean, it's everywhere. Like every third answer, at least, is time. That's interesting. So, obviously, let me just talk about that real quick. And somebody wrote a comment earlier, and I can't find it right now, but it was basically, when you're on your podcast, sometimes you sound like what you're just saying is like, listen, stupid, just get it done. It's not that hard. Like that's my mentality. And I don't think he wasn't saying that to be a dick. He was just saying, listen, you may come across like, hey man, it's black and white. Just get off your ass and do it, or stop eating like a fat pig. Right. And it's not as easy. And this guy's point was, it's not that easy for some of us that are struggling. It's not just, well, okay, I'm just going to do it then and screw it. So, that's an interesting point, and I appreciate that because, maybe I do come across that way because that's kind of how I look at things, only because I've lived it and I know that that's how it can work. Of course, it's not the only way, and I've never struggled with like food addictions in a sense like you might be thinking about. I have struggled with, like, let's say a Red Bull addiction where it was more caffeine and sugar, but yeah, so I've never had like a real emotional attachment to particular foods or overeating. Like I said, I've never been particularly like an overweight person that really struggles with that kind of stuff. So, maybe I don't know, that whole point of view, but for me, it is more black and white of like, listen, if it's very important to you, you can make it happen. And so with this excuse of time, and I've addressed this before in articles, but it's obviously I'm not going to repeat the same stuff that everybody has said a million times. We all have the same 24 hours, right? That's whatever, right? We all know that. And in my opinion, and this is just one person's opinion, the only reason you don't have enough time is because you haven't made time for it, which just boils down to your priorities, right? So if you looked at something like the one thing in your life that you want more than anything else, doesn't have to be fitness related at all, just one thing that you wanted more than anything in your life. Let's say you have a son, he just graduated from college, he gets drafted by the Boston Red Sox, and he goes and he starts playing in the big leagues, and he says, Dad, I want you at every game. I'll pay for it, whatever, but I want you there. And for you spent your whole life, grooming your son, coaching him, taking him all across the country and getting him ready, becoming this superstar. And you said, hell yes, that's what I want to do. Absolutely. I'm going to be there for every game, right? Would you make time for those games regardless of your schedule, right? You're going to figure it out, right? Of course, because something like that is so emotionally important to you because of the importance to your son. You're going to make time. And that's an extreme example, obviously, but there's, I use a different analogy, but you get the point. Most of us don't prioritize our health because we haven't before, and so it's not a pressing issue. If you've been sitting on your ass, and again, I'm not beating you guys up. So if you've been very inconsistent with your exercise, your eating's been, all over the place for years. You're sitting at a desk, you've been doing it for 20 years. There's no real routine. You're overweight. You're not feeling particularly great. Yeah, you're not going to have that boom. You know what? I would feel amazing if I lost 50 pounds, and I can envision what my life would be like. That's not an easy thing to do. And most guys, like I said, don't even think about it. So yeah, that's not necessarily going to drive you to say, I'm going to change my lifestyle. I'm going to make time for this every day. So, it's easier said than done. In a perfect world, yes, you could do that. But at the end of the day, if you don't take a look at that path, and if you keep doing what you're doing, right, what's going to happen? You're going to keep getting unhealthier. You're going to keep gaining weight. You're going to keep feeling worse. You're going to move worse, right? You're going to get weaker. You're going to lose more muscle mass, right? And it's just a progression. And I've seen it over the course of years. Take a look at a guy that you saw 10 years ago and today, right? He's bald or he's fatter. His shoulders are rounded. He's slumping a little bit. His posture sucks. That's just the natural progression of things if you don't take care of yourself. And so getting back to this whole time thing, right? If you don't make the time for yourself now. You're not a young person. If you're listening to this show, you're not a young man. I'm not saying you're old, but you're not a young man. We have no other. I'm 48. I have no time to waste. I cannot say next week, next month, next year. I don't have that time, right? Guys in their 40s and 50s are dropping dead from heart attacks, strokes. They're getting heart disease. They have diabetes, obesity-related illnesses all over the place, metabolic syndrome. We're having all kinds of problems, guys. And it's because what I just read, time. I have no time. Yes, you fucking have time. You have more than enough time to take care of your health and get on the right path. You don't have to reinvent your entire life. You don't have to go cold turkey on everything that you love to eat and switch to a completely clean, healthy diet. You don't have to do that. You don't have to spend all day in the gym, but you do have to start doing something. You have to get up off your ass. You have to move as much as possible. You have to get into some kind of strength training routine, whether it's body weights, whatever. You have to start using your muscles and pushing them. Okay, you have to start burning some calories. You have to start watching the quality and quantity of your foods. Okay, you have to start getting more sleep, and you have to make yourself a priority, right? It maybe sounds selfish. I've talked about this at length, right? Making yourself a priority is not selfish. It's the exact opposite. I don't care if you have 15 kids and 3 jobs, 6 dogs, and 7 mortgage payments. You are the priority, because if you're not, this is exactly what happens. You rate yourself a 4 out of 10, and it only goes down from there. So, this is my way to kind of push you, kind of motivate you or inspire you to do something, because there really is no other time, guys. Think about it. You're going to wake up one day, you're going to be 65, 70 years old, and it's too late to do all those things that you wanted to do. You're not going to care about how you look anymore. What you're going to care about is how you feel, right? How well you move. Can you get out of a chair or not, right? Can you go for walks? My father is 74 right now. He exercises for 3 to 4 hours every single day. And you know why he does that is because he spent his whole life doing that. He used to play 2 to 3 hours of full court basketball almost every single day. He did that for 30 years or more. And so he's in phenomenal shape, especially for a 74-year-old guy. How many 74-year-old men have you seen that can barely move? They're hunchback, they're using a cane, or they're in a wheelchair. They're hobbling around. They're not moving, and it's just one example of what happens if you commit to your health like he has, and you just stick with it. Like I've said before, consistency is key. He's been insanely consistent for decades. Other than a few minor setbacks with some surgeries, he has been super consistent. And he eats a normal diet. He's not dieting. He eats just regular food, doesn't pig out. He's a pretty lean enough guy. He's strong. He stretches. He swims. He does weights. He does all that stuff. That's, at 48, I look at that like, man, I would love to be doing that. He doesn't look 74. He doesn't feel 74, not even close. And that's what's in the future for us, guys. You can be that 74-year-old guy sitting in a wheelchair, watching reruns of 227, or you can be out living your life, walking, moving, having fun. You can still do those things, but you're not going to give a shit what you look like then. You're going to care about how you feel and how you move. And those things can only be addressed by taking action on doing something right now, and you can only do that by making time for yourself, because as I've just read, it seems like so many guys don't feel they have enough time, right? You do. You just don't feel like you do, and that's the problem. I can tell you all day long that you do have time. If you think you don't, then you don't. It's your job to prioritize your health as number one over everything else, because everything else will fall in line and everything else will get better once you do. Anyway, guys, I hope this helped. I really wanted to just share some real insights from real dads in the community, and this is big stuff. And so I appreciate you listening. And if you guys have any questions, of course, if you need help, feel free to reach out to me, steve@fitdadnation.com. Again, we have a couple of great groups. We have a free private Facebook group, Fit Dad Basecamp, and we have our membership program. This is a private community where we do a ton of stuff in there, Really, this is a really powerful resource for dads. It's the Fit Dad Nation Inner Circle, fdnic.com. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will talk to you next week.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, if you want more information, check out the Fit Dad Basecamp group on Facebook. And don't forget to stop by fitdadnation.com. Until next time, keep kicking ass and taking the next step. You can do this, Dad.